Ladies and gentlemen, we are jumping to the next session, which is extremely interesting. Stronger integration of electricity grids. What are the opportunities? What are the challenges? What are the concrete ways to go ahead? With three high-level speakers, the first one being Mr. Nasser Kamel, Secretary General of Union for the Mediterranean. He has a remarkable career, being ambassador to the United Kingdom from 2014 to 2018, ambassador to France from 2006 to 2012, and also Assistant Minister for Arab and Middle Eastern Affairs from 2012 to 2014. Mr. Kamel is an Egyptian statesman and career diplomat. He will join us with a video that the Secretariat will launch immediately.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's a pleasure to be speaking to you today. Let me start by commending Med-TSO for the conclusion of the Mediterranean Project 2. This project is completely aligned with the Union for the Mediterranean objective of ensuring a sustainable energy transition in the Mediterranean region. Furthermore, Med-TSO is a key stakeholder for the UFM, and more concretely for the whole UFM regional electricity markets platform. Together with MEDREG, Mediterranean Energy Regulators, whose president is present with us today, this platform aims at the progressive integration of electricity systems and markets in the UFM region, and in particular at the enhancement of electricity exchanges and interconnections and smart management of grids in order to achieve a secure, affordable, and sustainable electricity supply for the benefit of people and economies in the Euro-Mediterranean region. So I seize this occasion to thank Med-TSO for their commitment and contribution to our work at the UFM. We at the UFM look forward to continuing our close cooperation in the framework of the new project, TC-Med, since now it's time to implement on the ground the fruits of the work concluded so far. The upcoming UFM ministerial meeting on energy, which will take place in April 2021, will give further impetus to energy cooperation in the Mediterranean. Ladies and gentlemen, challenges and opportunities to enhance energy cooperation in the Mediterranean are great. Our region presents unique conditions to develop renewable energy, be it through wind, sun, or hydropower. There is definitely a huge potential to increase energy efficiency. These conditions can contribute, of course, to reduce our CO2 emissions, which are linked, of course, to conventional energy generation technology, and also to raise the level of efficiency in the final use and distribution of energy in our region. Throughout the last decade, the whole region's energy landscape has experienced profound changes. Our Mediterranean basin is one of the world's climate change hotspots. We are warming faster, 20% faster than the rest of the globe on average. There has also been an interconnectivity increase. However, there is still a lack of adequate electricity infrastructure in our region. There are growing expectations among our citizens for more secure, clean, low emission, low carbon, and affordable energy supply. This rapidly growing energy demand represents an opportunity for market integration and also for the development of renewable energy resources in our region. Efforts have to be undertaken within regulatory and financing frameworks to attract and facilitate private investment. The integration of the energy sector in our region, the Euro-Mediterranean region, is key to guarantee a secure, affordable, and sustainable supply of electricity. In our declaration of the UFM in 2016 ministerial meeting on energy, our minister expressed their will to, and I quote, foster sustainable development by ensuring that all consumers and industries have access to a secure, sustainable, affordable, and reliable energy supply, and to modern energy services, end of quote. Following sustainable development goal, of course, number 7. In order to do so, Minister established the 3 UFM energy platforms. The first one, which is the UFM gas platform, the second, the UFM regional electricity market platform, and the last is our UFM renewable energy and energy efficiency platform. Under the coordination of the UFM co-presidency, those platforms support a systematic and structured dialogue among our member states, and also between our member state and financial institution, regional organization, industrial enterprise, energy experts, and other very important key stakeholders. An enhanced regional dialogue that allows for better responding to the challenges in the Mediterranean region is definitely la raison d'être of the Union for the Mediterranean. Ladies and gentlemen, regional cooperation is the way to move forward in order to ensure a sustainable energy transition in our region, the Mediterranean, especially in the face of the recovery from the pandemic that has so hardly hit us this year. Our joint efforts should be multiplied, intensified more than ever today. It's only through the mobilization of all actors and only through inclusive and integrated approach that we can fully enhance the untapped potential to increase energy security, enhance the development of renewable energies, and promote the integration of energy markets in the Mediterranean region. The UFM, ladies and gentlemen, and the UFM Secretariat acknowledges that we need to collectively identify cooperation opportunities and mechanisms for a successful energy transition in our Euro-Mediterranean region. We need to mobilize private investments and to enhance public-private partnership and other innovative financial solution and business models that can be replicable to ensure our sustainable energy transition. We will remain fully dedicated to keep enhancing cooperation with Med-TSO and all other regional actors and stakeholders, and we look forward to doing so in the framework of our upcoming UFM ministerial meeting on energy, which will take place in Portugal in April 2021. I take this opportunity to thank you all for being with us, and I wish you all the success in your meeting. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Kamel, Secretary General for Union for the Mediterranean. I have now the great pleasure to warmly welcome the president of the sister association to Med-TSO, being MEDREG, the Mediterranean Association of Energy Regulators. This president is Mrs. Gülefsan Demirbas. Mrs. Demirbas is from Turkey, where she is head of strategy development department at EMRA, the Turkish Energy Market Regulatory Authority. She started her career at university as a research assistant. She continued for 10 years in the Turkish Privatization Administration. Then she joined the Energy Market Regulatory Authority as advisor to the president and ultimately, as I said, head of the Department of Strategy Development. She has been recognized not only at MEDREG, but other international association of energy regulators. namely ICER, where she has been or she is chair of the working group on gas and other fuels. She is also member of the steering group Women in Energy at ICER, and another characteristic of her career, the fantastic World Forum of Energy Regulation in May 2015, where she was executive director. Of course, I attended it in Istanbul. I will never forget it. And it was already showing that Turkey was become a giant in energy. Mrs. Gülefsan Demirbas, you have the floor. If you can stick to your 8 minutes slot.
Thank you very much. Let me share the presentation. First of all, I want to express my gratitude to take part in this event. Today, I'm going to focus on the role of MEDREC for integrated grids and markets in the Mediterranean. Let me first try to elaborate on why market integration matter for MEDREC community. What does it aim and how it works? As we know that developing regional electricity markets worldwide provided helpful lessons over a broad spectrum of market types, from simple trade between two countries to multinational, multi-country trading around a set of regional rules with fully integrated competition. The vision is to set up a regional electricity market within the Mediterranean region. What are the benefits of it? It improves the system's reliability and enables energy exchange that take advantage of daily and seasonal demand diversity and disparities in marginal production costs. And finally, it facilitates and promotes the key regional infrastructure development over the region. The ultimate objective of an integrated market is to optimize the supply of electricity within a regional framework. But this can only be achievable if in a market environment where every party has equal access to all networks, where market data and information on pricing, market operation, capacity allocation, and so on are transparent, and where electricity tariffs cover the cost of supply, power grid costs are harmonized, and systems are synchronized, and markets are liberalized. There are some principal milestones that drive market integration that we all know. Is the major of them is the security of supply, where is to increase energy security and efficiency and reduce the cost of supply to consumer. The other one is the sustainability, which is to improve the system reliability and to effectively use the existence infrastructure. And it also enables necessity investments, which is to use the economy of scale, which facilitates financing the new projects. Let me briefly explain MEDREC's strategy on the issue, which is directly related to the grid integration. Our first pillar is a sound institutional regulatory framework. We as MEDREC support the independent regulator with clear powers and competences existing in each Mediterranean country. National legal and regulatory frameworks are improved, and common network code standards developed under a common understanding. The second pillar of MEDREC is the to create an optimal condition for infrastructure investments. All countries are interconnected. Gas and electricity infrastructures are operated effectively. The final aim is that, and new incentives for efficient investment in renewables generation and energy efficiency are in place. And the share of electricity produced from renewables is increasing, and the barriers to investment are minimized. Our third pillar is the functioning a competitive electricity and gas market. We aim that a market for electricity and gas in each country, there should be a market with cross-border trade is in place in all interconnections. Transparency and access to information should be increased, and regulatory efficiency monitors market developments and improvements in the transparency. Our fourth pillar is intensified regional cooperation and setting up of pilot projects. We expect that regional coordination and cooperation intensified, common principles for market integration are defined, and pilot projects are set up to test implementing. Our fifth pillar of MedRec is the consumer empowerment, through which we target that consumers can choose between different suppliers, they have access to necessary information regarding billing and their rights, and vulnerable consumers are efficiently protected. So what does MedRec do for market integration in Euromed region? We aim to set the conditions for the establishment of a future Mediterranean energy community. We work to stimulate regional integration and energy trading between Mediterranean countries. It assesses its members in their regulatory reforms through tailor-made activities, supporting the development of a strong national legal and regulatory framework of the countries. Regulatory reforms stimulate regional cooperation, helping Mediterranean energy regulators to adopt converging regulatory practice that result in a greater compatibility of the energy markets. And in the long run, this emerging common regulatory culture will contribute to the progressive market integration in the Euro-Mediterranean region. MedRec also analyzes and improves conditions for infrastructure investment. We identify the priorities and challenges for the stimulation of relevant investments in the Mediterranean region. The latest gas discoveries, the potentialities of renewable deployment, and increasing electricity consumptions have further revived the interest of Mediterranean energy developments, bringing them to the top of the international agenda. MedRec also increases the competition and transparency in the Mediterranean electricity and gas markets. We aim to address the well-known dilemma of information asymmetry between regulators and market actors, which has a negative effect on the efficiency, competition, and transparency of the energy sector. This requires regulation that lays down clear rules and obligations to all parties, as well as a regulatory framework that guarantees the ability and powers of the regulators in supervising the performance of the actors. To effectively regulate the energy industry, regulators must access information about the performance and behavior of the market actors and monitor this regularly. We also aim innovation in the RES technology. MedRec seeks to support its members in implementing regulatory measures to foster the integration of renewable energy sources into their national energy mix. Recognizing the high potential of the Mediterranean region as a provider of renewable electricity, particularly in solar and in wind, it should be noted that the penetration of renewable energy sources is a key tool that contributes to the security of supply, as well as to the overall efforts that go into combating climate change. To this end, MEDREG regularly produces benchmark studies on the renewable of national situation and elaborate reports on smart grids, net metering, and renewable associated technologies in the Mediterranean countries. I think I should refer to our cooperation with Med-TSO also. We signed a bilateral agreement with them, and the aim of the cooperation is to join forces to reinforce Mediterranean electricity interconnections and support a more efficient and a balanced dialogue between the TSOs. MEDREG and TSO also closely cooperate to implement the work program of the Union for the Mediterranean Regional Electricity Market Platform, and major outcomes of this cooperation are our joint trainings in which we address main challenges and possible opportunities with regards to the integration of grids to establish a well-integrated Mediterranean energy market. Well, let me say a few remarks about the projects of common PCI's interest and position of MEDREC. Some interconnection projects are either in or candidate for European Union PCI list. MEDREC acknowledged the importance of the interconnection projects and expressed its position through letters addressed to the European Commission, potentially having a positive impact in the other neighboring countries as well. These projects will pave the way towards sustainable development of the region's economies by creating the technical conditions for the integration of Mediterranean and European power markets, which is also one of the main missions of MEDREC. These regional projects can help to establish strong relationship between the energy actors across the Mediterranean region and further reinforce the transfer of knowledge, experience, and best practices among them. Some examples from Mediterranean, as also today we discussed, is the Italy-Tunisia interconnector, Italy-Montenegro, and 600 megawatt undersea power cable ELMET project. And also developing a PSIA concept for the Mediterranean region. We are working on that, as also Angela mentioned about it. There are some challenges to identify the joint dynamics between the countries. So we need the international coordination bodies and joint principles on the PCIs. Finally, I would like to draw your attention to the challenges against integration of markets. Regulatory issues and also your issues are always challenging issues. But what we are facing mostly as regulators are the physical challenges, need for upgrading in transmission lines, unsynchronized systems to be connected, lack of standards that impacts the system reliability and security risks associated with expanding interconnection capacity. And also there is structural and institutional challenges which limited coordinated control over many national networks, making it very difficult to determine and verify if international trade transactions are feasible. Lack of an agreed dispatch mechanism and software with a consistent set of data for multiple national systems to enable verification of the feasibility of trade transactions by different national control centers, and vertically integrated or state-owned monopolies that lead to too long negotiations times in transactions, similarly lack of private sector participation in some countries. When we look at the regulatory challenges, we see the lack of harmonized legislation and market rules, lack of independent regulator in some countries, and impaired competition due to subsidization and cross-subsidization of pricing in the power sectors, and lack of published information concerning market prices and transmission availability. What we MEDREC do is to try to get together and share our knowledges and try to overcome all these challenges via doing benchmark studies or other projects that we are still on doing and will plan to do in coming years. Well, thanks again for your attention and also for my presence here. Thank you.
Many thanks to you, President Demirbas, and long life to MEDREG. And I wish you the best.
Thank you very much.
And the very best.
Bye-bye.
I have now another big pleasure. It is to introduce my compatriot, Hervé Laffaye. Hervé is many things. He is president of ENTSO-E. He is also deputy CEO of ENTSO-E, the French electricity grid, I assume the biggest electricity grid in Europe. He has an outstanding career starting as researcher in the field of applied mathematics for electrical systems. He did do different operational jobs and then become the head of the National Control Center for 7 years when ENTSO-E was created. And he ended becoming chief operation officer in 2016, covering from engineering to maintenance and operation. So Hervé knows everything about the grids, from the theory, the maths, till the very practical activities. And I cannot tell more because now you catch why I'm so happy welcoming Hervé. And Hervé, you have the floor and you have 8 minutes to keep the floor.
Okay, I'm going to share my screen to show you no more than 3 slides, okay? I'm struggling with it so far, but for the moment, thank you, Jean Michel, for your introduction. So, and I'm very glad to have been invited. So, good morning, Excellencies, Ministries, ladies and gentlemen. And as President Bourakras already mentioned, I'm particularly pleased to be part of and to witness and to tell you how the two organizations are also cooperating. I hope this works, that you see my first slide that I will skip very rapidly, if I can do that. I'm not sure. I wanted first, and perhaps as a reaction to what Mrs. Demirbas just said to me what the added value of networks. And it's very general thoughts, but I think they are very adapted to what we are discussing today. So in very general terms, and it's not only for power system, for energy, what is the essence of a network? It is about interconnecting. And I like this word interconnected as a mirror to integrating, because it's interconnecting while respecting diversity. Of course, geographical diversity, but diversity in many dimensions. The networks are developed on win-win extensions, okay? So there is a common interest to develop them. And with, I would say, the minimum standardization level for harvesting the maximum of added value. And of course, it has not been mentioned so far, but I think that they are naturally resilience-oriented, thanks to size and diversity. And the paradigm that will develop is that these networks, we have to look at them now more than as organic systems than physical only a system. Next one, please. I will go rapidly. So here I'm taking some thoughts that ENTSO-E recently developed and presented through his Vision 2030 and beyond. And I'm going to try to give you some of the key drivers and challenges that we are facing. First, it has already been mentioned, is the high level of penetration of a new energy mix, and particularly with renewables. The second issue is that we are going offshore now. And this is an important thing as we are talking about about the Mediterranean Sea. Okay, so the grids are going now undersea. There is a growing need for what is called flexibilities to face the issues brought by renewables. And this is also asking for more cooperation between TSO, transmission system operators, and distribution system operators. So what we will have in the future is the interconnection of several energy systems. And I'm talking energy and not only electricity. And we think that the power grid can be the backbone for what is called this sector coupling. Of course, we have opportunities, and one of them is IT, power electronics, because now we can face challenges that we couldn't before. And there is, of course, a new paradigm for the stability without the physical inertia of machines, but I think we can handle that. Another issue is to continue to have this interconnection between markets and feeding as seamless as possible. And with the new operational challenge, I already mentioned resilience, but also how to forecast the behavior of the system and other technical issues. Of course, we have a developing cyber layer with the cybersecurity issues. We have new means of artificial intelligence. And thanks to technological breakthrough that we already have or will have, the links over the Mediterranean, they will bring a response, it was already mentioned, that we can witness all over the world, which is the extension of networks and the extension of the interconnection. Next slide, please. So my remarks or my concluding remarks is that we cannot consider the power system as a whole. Now we have to consider more and more a system of interconnected system. And this is, I think, one of the growing issue if you want to achieve the worldwide energy transformation with the 2050 horizon, for instance. And we will have this multi-layer, multiplayer, cross-sector and cross-continent coordination, cooperation, and interconnection. And of course, the system operators, they have a key role in that, which is to facilitate this transition by designing the adequate interconnection. And you saw how the Mediterranean project 1 or 2 are oriented on identifying what are the interconnection bringing value to the whole system. And it was already mentioned this morning, but I would present Med-TSO at the meeting to go from Brussels and praying with the world that it to the Green Deal to Paris, that is the Paris Agreement, through these intercontinental interconnections. So I will conclude by again mentioning that ENTSO-E and Med-TSO are already closely connected. Of course, we have common members among the two associations, but there are already intensive and necessary bilateral data exchange and knowledge sharing. And I hope this will pave the way for this future that we are all expecting. So thank you for your attention.
Many thanks to you, Hervé. And ladies and gentlemen, I would like to underline again what Hervé just said. The energy transition is not only generating electricity with other resources. The energy transition is also changing the electricity system, changing the electricity grid. You have heard multi-layer, multi-player. You have heard cross-sector, cross-continent. So the grids and the operation of the system are at the core of the energy transition. So we have two sets of challenges with electricity generation and with the grid and the system. But I'm not an engineer at all. I'm a typical university economist.